All right, welcome to this video. My name is Taylor Bentrud, and I'm going to talk to you today about how to start an agency with $0 and no skills, actually. All you really need is a laptop and some good Wi-Fi. And that's actually how I started my agency, BetterAMS. And I want to explain to you how that was possible for me and how it can also be possible for you. So the first thing that you really need to be aware of is that when I'm talking about an agency, I'm talking about a service that you're providing to a customer or a client per se. My agency is a marketing agency, so this advice will probably be most applicable to you if you want to start a marketing agency. However, I think it's universally applicable and it can be applied to any different industry, even if you're not running a marketing agency or an advertising agency. So with that being said, the first thing is really simple. You want to start out with a micro niche, okay? Now, a micro niche is really a vertical in the marketplace that is really, really small, but there's still, of course, a demand or a problem in that micro niche that you are curious to solve. So an example of BetterAMS, when I started about 2016, I don't know, 2017, I think it was 2016, there was a hole or micro niche in the market, which was helping sellers or brands on Amazon manage their Amazon advertising. That's what we do, and that's what we've continued to do for 4 years. At that time, it was a micro niche, and I still think that it's a micro niche, even though it's a little bit bigger now than it was 4 years ago. But that's an example of a micro niche. I help companies on Amazon increase their sales with better advertising. At the time, I didn't really have it that well defined. I just thought, okay, this is a pretty small niche. I mean, companies that sell on Amazon, at the time, I didn't even know that Amazon sold more than books until I discovered that when I was researching into Amazon, and I heard that there was some people who were making money essentially managing the advertising for different brands. So that's an example of a micro niche. Another micro niche could be like helping pregnant mothers prepare for post, whatever that's called, when they actually have the baby. For basically so they can have a healthy baby and they can also have a good looking body after they've delivered a baby. And that's a good example of a niche for someone in a very saturated category, such as the workout category, fitness space, right? And so when you go really micro, what happens is your resonation levels between your service and that micro niche, the resonation is very high, and you can also become more of an expert and you can charge much higher prices than you would if you were to just say, I help businesses with their advertising. That is not a niche. Every business in the world would like some help with their advertising. Who do you actually help? It should be so specific that most people won't even really think that that could be a business that could make a lot of money. At the time when I started this Amazon advertising thing, I didn't know what the scalability of it was. I didn't know if it was going to something that could go to 7 figures or 8 figures, but it is something that can do that. And so anyways, what you want to do when you're thinking about a micro niche, especially if you really have no idea where to start, is just think about, what are you curious about, okay? What are you curious about? What skills do you already have? This is not super important, okay? The skills thing, don't worry too much about that. But what are you curious about? What do you love? Okay, this is really important because you don't want to get into a niche that you're not really passionate about, that you don't really love. Personally, I didn't care what I got into. I just wanted to be free and independent and work from my laptop and live in a tropical climate, which is where I am now. I've been in Panama City for like 4 years. I left Canada as soon as I could. But I did this the wrong way. I went and picked anything I possibly could that could make me money, but I was very fortunate to have fallen in love with Amazon advertising and what we do, okay? But when you start out, don't just focus on the money. Don't just think, okay, I'm gonna just do whatever can make me money, because there's so many things that can make you money, and you can start an agency in any niche and you can make a ton of money, okay? And at the end of the day, it's much more enjoyable if you're making money doing something that you actually enjoy, okay? So what are you curious about? A good way to figure this out is, okay, you just basically ask your friends or people that you're closest with, hey, what do I not like stop talking about? What could I just talk about for hours and hours and hours? What do you think that I truly love based on things I just won't shut up about? that's a good thing to look at. It's basically natural affinities, which we'll get into this. So service solves a problem. It has to solve a problem. So there has to be a problem in this micro niche that you can identify, that you can ideally solve, that is worth $2,000 or $3,000 per month or more. Product market fit, I mean, this is pretty simple. This isn't really tied to micro niche, but whatever niche you find, that's essentially the market, and whatever service you're going to be delivering to them is essentially the product. But in this case, we call it a service because it's an agency. Blue ocean is this, it's really cool if you can find a micro niche that's a blue ocean. Blue ocean just means there's not many people in that micro niche who are servicing that micro niche for the problem that you think that micro niche has that you could potentially solve. And ideally, you want to find something where you can charge at least $2,000 a month. Okay, I have seen many agencies over the years, and I've seen some that for their services they charge $100-$200, and it's very difficult to scale that compared to scaling something that is $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 per month in terms of the value of the service. So really try to strive for something that's worth at least $2,000 or $3,000 per month. In the beginning, you may not know the worth, but that's okay. We'll get into that shortly. And the niche should be so micro that it makes you uncomfortable. Again, like I said, if you're a personal trainer, you know, thinking that you only are willing to help pregnant mothers might freak you out a little bit. Because you might think, I don't know if there's that many pregnant moms out there. Like, I don't know, you know, if there's enough of a market size for me to actually, you know, make much money with this. But trust me, you know, if you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable about how micro your niche is, that's a good thing. If you don't feel a little bit uncomfortable and you're like, oh yeah, my niche is huge, like there's tons of market, there's a huge market and I can make a ton of money, you're probably not niched down enough and you need to niche down further. Again, you should be a little bit uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable when I got into this Amazon advertising thing. And there's many cases where I see people and they're like, I do Facebook ads for local businesses. And you know, that was a niche at one point, 4 or 5 years ago when no one was really talking about that. But niches change and niches become saturated and they evolve into like not even being a niche anymore. So something that was a micro niche 20 years ago was when Amazon started selling books online. Amazon started in a micro niche. No one was really buying books online. And Amazon, Jeff Bezos thought, okay, well, let's make the largest bookstore in the world through the internet. And no one was doing that, okay? It was a huge risk on his part, but he thought that there was a huge reward, and there was. If you look at the same thing with Apple, Steve Jobs, I mean, launching the first, I don't know what they called it, the Macintosh or whatever they called that first computer. I mean, again, that's a huge micro niche. No one was using personal computers in their households at that time. And so really you got to think it, okay, even the biggest companies in the world, they started in a micro niche. So that's super important, all right? The second thing is that really what you're looking for from a high level, if I'm going to summarize this, is curiosity with market need. So you don't need skills, and we're going to get to this shortly. You do not need skills in the beginning. A lot of people fixate on skills, and they think, well, I don't know how to do anything. Like, I can't start an agency because I don't know how to do anything. And I see a lot of people, like, for example, I was talking to someone, and he was saying, you know, there's a lot of people who do Facebook ads, and they have Facebook advertising agencies, and they help businesses, and they make a lot of money, but I don't know how to do that, and you know, like, I can't do that. That's a terrible mindset to have. This is a mindset that I had when I was a kid, or, well, when I was younger, when I was about 18. I thought, okay, well, clearly whatever I do, I can't start a business if I don't have the skills. And unfortunately, school really pre-programs your mind to think that you can't get a job unless you have a degree. And so you go to school, you go to university, you get a degree, you spend $50, $60, $70, $100, $250, $500,000. You get this degree, you get this piece of paper, and then you earn the job, okay? And unfortunately, that's not how it works in entrepreneurship and business. It's the complete opposite. You don't need any skills whatsoever. You can literally just identify a market need and instantly like that start a business and have no skills whatsoever, because skills can be found in other people. Skills can be learned through books. Skills can be learned through YouTube. We have the internet now. I mean, this may have been an issue, 20, 30 years ago when there wasn't really any internet. But now that we have all the information we could possibly want in the entire world to learn anything on how to do anything through the internet for pretty much free, all of it, you don't need the skills. So coming to curiosity and market need, really all you want to focus on in the very beginning is, what am I curious about? What niches am I really curious about? If you have an affinity for loving dogs and you work at like a dog shelter and you can't stop thinking about how you can help dogs, I mean, you could start some form of agency. This is just how my brain thinks because I have an advertising agency. But you could start an advertising agency helping dog shelters or helping veterinarians grow their business. And that could probably give you a lot of satisfaction because you're helping these veterinarians help more dogs by bringing them more patients, which means they're able to help more pets, right? Like, so you don't necessarily need to, for example, if you love dogs, you can help that. You can offer a service in that vertical, in that niche, in that micro niche, through many different ways. It doesn't have to be one way. You really got to expand your mind and think, okay, how many different ways are there for me to service this niche, right? In my niche of helping businesses on Amazon manage their advertising and basically increase their sales, that's just one thing. We could also help them improve their product photography. We could also do copywriting services for them. We could also help them launch their products on Amazon. We could also build software for these companies that are selling products on Amazon. We could do keyword research. There's a million different services we could offer. If I was really passionate about selling stuff on Amazon and starting a brand on Amazon, advertising is just one thing, okay? So really just once you've identified a micro niche that you're kind of passionate about, that you think you love, what you want to do is just figure, okay, well, what are the million different services I could offer that interest me the most, okay? For me, I love advertising, so that's just one thing that whatever I do in life, I know that it's going to be related to marketing and advertising. I think that's probably the coolest thing in the world. That's what I personally love, all right? So moving forward to 1.1, curiosity and alignment. How do you actually figure out what you're curious about and what is alignment for you? Well, the easiest way to do this, and this is actually what I did, you're looking for natural affinities, okay? These are things that usually you're not even conscious about. If you are, then great. This will be a much faster process for you, and you should just instantly know, I love this, and whatever I do, if I'm gonna start an agency or any business or whatever, I wanna do something in this vertical, okay? And it could be as simple as, like I said, it could be as simple as, I love fitness, I love working out. Okay, great. So you have the industry, you have the high level. That's not a niche, that's just the super high level. And I've actually done a whole video on how to pick a niche. It was the first video I published on YouTube. If you want to scroll through my channel and watch that to learn about level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4 niches, this is where I explain how to get deep, how to go from like, I love working out to helping prenatal moms prepare for, deliver a healthy baby and have a great looking body after delivering that baby. Like, how do you go from, okay, I love working out, to something as specific as that? There's a video I posted, it's the first video on my channel, that'll help you out. But you're looking for natural affinities. And then if you can't really figure out what that is, just ask your friends, ask your family who spend the most time with you and say, hey mom, what do I not shut up about? Like, when we're just like driving, or when we're just sitting outside or eating dinner, like, what do you notice that I just continually go back to talking about? Okay, like, what is the one thing that I just won't shut up about? And generally you'll be able to find it out. For my girlfriend, it was like stuff to do with enlightenment and spirituality, and like all these books on healing and just a lot of stuff to do with spirituality, all right? And the moment she started spending all her time and energy doing that, her happiness levels just went like 100x. And she's a totally different person now than she was 6 months ago when she was in the wrong niche. So With that being said, curiosity alignment, that's kind of how you can get a general direction in terms of where you should go when you're looking to start your agency. And I just had this thought, I should check if we're still recording. Makes me a little bit nervous. Okay, it looks like we are good. We're live still. So 1.2 market need, all right, once you've got the niche, okay, let's just say hypothetically, you know what, I love working out. Super saturated, super competitive category. If you want to be a super successful personal trainer and make a lot of money doing personal training, it's a difficult thing to do just because of how competitive it is and how much free information there is on how to work out, and etc. Okay, but there's personal trainers out there making 7 figures a year, okay, over $1 million a year, and they're a personal trainer. So how do they do something like that? Well, I'll break it down. First of all, the market need is simple. Let's just talk about this. If you're a personal trainer, you want to basically then survey the market. So this example is not the best because it's so clear that people need to work out. Let's pick something that's not that clear. And let's just pick, for example, you love dogs and you want to help. You think that helping veterinarians, grow their business is something that you want to do. So what I would do is, if I want to start an advertising agency that helps veterinarians grow their business, I forget what they're called. I think it's just called the veterinarians. I don't know what the actual business is called, where you take your pet in there and they do surgery or whatever. But anyways, I would then go to 20 to 30 of these businesses. I would try to get in touch with the owner. First of all, I probably wouldn't go in there physically. I'd probably just either call them, or I would send an email to whoever the owner is. I'd find the owner, send them an email, or call them personally. What I want to do is I want to just get 5 to 10 minutes of their time. I want to tell them, hey, I love your business. I'm super passionate about pets. I really want to figure out how I can create a service helping veterinarians to grow their business because I love pets so much. I think you have an amazing business. Do you mind if I just if we just schedule a 5-10 minute call so I could ask you maybe 5-10 questions about your business and how you were able to get it to where it is today, and most importantly, what kind of troubles or issues you have with scaling your business to the next level with your marketing and what your marketing looks like. That's what I'm super passionate about. I really want to figure out how I could help veterinarians with businesses like yours grow to have 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 plus locations, in their city or in all, across their country. Okay, so that's how you approach this niche that you're thinking is going to be a good niche. It's a heart-based approach. You're basically telling them, look, I love what you're doing. I'm starting this thing. I think I really want to help people out like you with your business. Can we just hop on a call for 5-10 minutes? And do you mind if I ask you some questions about your business? People love to talk about themselves, and trust me, you'll get a high acceptance rate on this if you start reaching out to business owners. They would love to tell you about how they started their business and how it's now successful, and they would be happy to share with you about their marketing strategies and what's worked, what hasn't worked, and the issues that they're facing. Trust me, they will be happy to do an interview with you. Send out 100 cold emails, you'll probably get 20 or 30 phone calls. All right, not that hard, you could do it in a week. With that being said, you want to have a script and you want to prepare some questions for these people when you actually get them on the phone, because these are your potential ideal prospects that you're going to be speaking with and that you're potentially going to be working with if you can verify that there is a market need and that there's a demand for the potential service that you're looking to offer, okay? And you may not even have a potential service in mind. Maybe what you're going to do is you're just going to call these veterinarians and say, hey, I love your business, how did you get it started, etc. But then the most important question is, what's the biggest problem you're facing right now in your business? Or what I like to do is say, okay, hey, what's your current situation right now? I mean, where are you guys at? Do you have 1 location, 2 locations? How many pets are you usually serving per week, etc.? Okay, great. And where do you want to get to? Okay, what's your desired situation? And everyone has a goal. Everyone has goals. Very few, there's pretty much nobody's going to tell you, I don't have any goals. I don't have any ambitions to get better. I like what I'm doing and that's it. I don't want to grow bigger. Okay, they're going to tell you, you know what? Yeah, we have ambitions. We want to open up another location by the end of next year. Once they give you that, this is where I want to go, right? This is my current situation. This is my desired situation. You got to figure out like desired, current, what is blocking them, right? So once you've got the current situation, the desired situation, you really want to ask them, hey, what's the thing that you think that's blocking you the most? Like, what do you think the major blockage is between you getting here, not just in the next year, but like, how do you think you could get here in the next month? And what would be the major thing that would need to change? Or what's the major thing that's blocking you? And they'll usually give you some great feedback, sometimes not. But if they just say, I don't know, you know, maybe advertising, okay, well, tell me more about that. You know, what are you guys doing with your advertising right now? And you're essentially digging deep into this invisible bridge between their current and their desired. And this is where you're going to find the needs, okay? Maybe they tell you something like this. Maybe they tell you, you know what? Right now, like our marketing's performing amazing, but our staff is losing so much time inputting information into, you know, the computer and saving that, and we're losing patients' files, and it's just a mess. And we need to really improve our how we store our patients' documents and stuff like that. This is actually, you might think there's no way that would be an issue, but it is. And if it's something like that, maybe, you know, maybe it's not an agency that you're building, but maybe you build a software, something that organizes the files that the patients have when they bring in the pets, for example, and it's just a simple software that you click a button, it opens up this, etc., and all that. And that's not as hard as you think it is, to be honest with you. But anyways, the point is you want to figure out what is the problems that they have. Ideally, if you want to start an agency, it's something that doesn't involve software, because, like, you know, we're talking about a service. And so if they tell you something like, you know, it's our advertising, we have a lot of referrals, but we don't really have a consistent stream of new customers coming in here. We feel that we're pretty limited to our location, and we feel like not a lot of people really know that we're here, even though we've been here for a year. Okay. Oh, okay, great. Well, have you tested, you know, advertising on Google? Have you tested advertising on Facebook? Have you done like a physical flyer campaign to the 1,000+ houses around your business within the 1 mile radius, etc.? Okay, you can dive deep and ask them the questions that you need to ask. So once you've done 10 to 30 of these interviews, you're gonna see a trend. You're gonna see a pattern. That pattern is going to basically be what your service is going to have to solve, right? So the problem or the pattern is going to be, you know, 10 out of those 30 people all have an issue with, you know, getting more patients and more pets into their veterinarian business, whatever. Okay, great. Well, with that being said, since you've done 30 and 10 of them had that one issue with their advertising or with their marketing or just with a lack of patience, that's the actual problem, lack of patience, then you would basically go to step 2 here, which is, okay, how do you actually help them get more patients, right? So how can you get them to their desired situation? Now, like I said, you don't need to know how to do this, okay? And all you have to do is just Google it, figure it out, find the best person in the world. I guarantee you there is hundreds, if not thousands of companies that have successfully helped veterinarian businesses double their revenues with like Facebook or Google ads, okay? It's pretty, there's gonna be a lot of free information out there online. So with that being said, you may not find a specific veterinarian agency that only helps veterinarians grow their business. I hope I'm saying this right. This whole video, if I've been saying it wrong, that sucks. But helping them grow their veterinarian business, you may not find one person who that's all they do is help veterinarians grow their business and get more pets and patients, etc. But you'll probably find some marketing agencies that have worked with dozens of veterinarian businesses that has some free blog posts, or there's someone on YouTube, or there's even a course. You know, when I started in Amazon advertising, had no idea what I was doing. But I found a guy who I thought was the best in the world, and I paid him. And before I paid him, I actually watched all his free stuff, And I watched a bunch of other free stuff on YouTube. I primarily learned on YouTube for free with all the free videos on YouTube. And then I got my first client, and the first client was worth about $4,000 per month, and I still didn't have the skills. Okay, so here's what's beautiful. I didn't have the skills when I signed my first client, and it was worth $4,000 a month. As soon as that client paid me, you better believe that I was freaking out. I was like, holy shit, this person's gonna be paying me $4,000 a month. There is no way I am not gonna deliver on a quality service. So instantly I took that $4,000, I spent $2,000 of those dollars on paying who I thought was the best person in the world, and they helped me better understand how to do what I was supposed to do because I had no idea what I was doing. Fast forward 4 years, I would say we're probably one of the best in the world at what we do. That's probably my ego, but really, if I try to really think about the best people in the world, I would say we're one of the top in the world when it comes to Amazon advertising. And it's not that hard to be the best in the world when you're in a micro niche and there's not a lot of people doing what you're doing. That's what's beautiful about a micro niche. It's easy for you to become a big fish in a small pond, and once you've really dominated that pond, you can jump out into a bigger pond with bigger fish, and you can try to dominate that pond. But you have to start in a small pond where you can quickly become a big fish and dominate it, such as Amazon advertising, okay? And then maybe once we're doing, I don't know, $250,000, $300,000, $400,000 per month, probably sooner, we'll expand from just Amazon advertising to something else, okay, right? But not until we feel we have truly dominated our micro niche. So with that being said, just to give you a huge recap on this entire thing, first step, find a micro niche. Think about what you have a natural affinity towards, okay? Think about what kinds of things you relentlessly talk about with your friends. Ask your friends for some feedback, ask your parents, ask your brother, ask your sister, ask your cousins, anyone that's really close to you that has spent a lot of time with you, ask them, okay? Also, something you can do is look at your buying history. If you buy and you read a lot of books, what books do you read? What are the most books that you read? If you watch a lot of stuff on YouTube, what are you watching on YouTube? My little brother plays a lot of video games. He spends like 8 hours a day playing video games. And I keep telling him, like, dude, start a YouTube channel. Like, if you truly love playing video games, start a YouTube channel. Maybe you can do that for the rest of your life. Personally, I think that's ridiculous because, like, I would never want to play video games the rest of my life, and I think you can get addicted to them. But if that brings him a lot of joy and a lot of happiness, and he can make great YouTube videos in a state of joy and happiness, a lot of other people are going to feel that joy and happiness, and it's going to help raise the vibration of the world, and we'll become a more peaceful planet. So it doesn't really matter what you're doing as long as you love what you're doing. So find that micro niche in something that you're curious about that you really like, okay? Number 2 is don't worry about the skills. You don't need them. Just interview and survey the ideal prospects within the market who you think could pay you $2,000 to $3,000 per month. Interview 10 to 30 of them, figure out what their big pains are, figure out current situation, desired situation, what's in the middle and what's blocking them. And then once you have that data, once you have about 10 people, from there it's very simple. You just want to either go back to those people and say, hey, remember that when we were talking about your marketing? I think I can really help you with this. I worked with XYZ. I've got a lot of training on how to do Facebook advertising for your veterinarian business. And I think that what we could expect from Facebook ads is to get you an extra 20 to 40 patients per week with $500 to $1,000 in advertising spend on Facebook. And for me to do this service for you, I would charge you just $2,000 per month. So it'd be a total of $3,000. All we really need is about 60 days, and we can run a 60-day test. We'll review the performance after 60 days, and if it's going great, we can spend more money on advertising, and we can continue to grow your veterinarian. If it's not going that well, I can either reduce my price or we could stop it altogether. But based on what I've learned from people who have directly helped veterinarian businesses grow with Facebook ads. And I'd love to just sit down with you and maybe show you how I think that's possible and show you how some other veterinarian businesses have grown with Facebook ads, okay? That's kind of what it looks like. And What's crazy is like, I personally, now I feel like I could walk into any business in the entire world and have no skills, but sound so confident and have so much just confidence in my voice and my tonality that I guarantee you I could probably get like 25, 30% of those businesses to pay us a retainer of $3,000 or $4,000 a month, just because of what I've learned in sales and marketing over the last 4 years. Now, I don't recommend you go and do that unless you're confident that you can actually provide the outcome that this person desires, okay? This is super powerful stuff, and once you learn it, it's kind of like you can use it for evil or you can use it for good, and you really want to pick good. You don't want to pick evil. There's a lot of marketing agencies out there who don't really pick evil, but they're unconsciously evil, and they just sell people like $5,000, $10,000 per month retainers, and they're terrible at what they do and they don't deliver great results. And I've seen this time and time again, and you don't want to be that person. Only pitch someone and tell them you can help them if you truly think you can help them. Now, in the beginning, again, you're probably going to have this thing called imposter syndrome, where you don't have the skills, but you know where you can learn the skills, and you have to get over that hump of like believing in yourself and believing that you can figure out how to grow this veterinarian business. And if they pay you $2,000 a month or $3,000 a month for 2 months to do that, make sure you take whatever they paid you for that and just, at least if this is your first client or your second client, whatever, just invest all your time and energy into mastering that thing so you can get the best outcome possible for them, right? So that's my brain dump on how to start an agency. This is really high level. What I was thinking of doing was putting together a PDF and a checklist on basically summarizing this so that you can kind of have it in a more condensed document. Comment something in the comments, like comment me if you think that would be useful, and maybe I'll build it. I'm not really sure if there's a demand for it, so I'm going to ask you right now, and if there's enough people that say, hey, I would love something like that, then I'll put it together. If not, I won't bother doing it. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And let me know if you have a topic that you would like me to speak about related to starting or growing an agency. All right, ciao. Thanks for watching.